Where do you think the oldest structure in human history is? Egypt? No. Europe? No. India, China, or South America? None of them. The oldest and most ancient structure in human history is in Urfa, is a city in southeastern Turkey, was known as Edessa in ancient times. No one predicted that the structures unearthed in the archaeological excavations would change the history of humanity. These large and complex structures, dating back 12,000 years from today, are becoming more mysterious with each passing day. While we are surprised even how people who lived as hunter-gatherers built this place, it has been revealed with new findings that they covered the structures themselves and buried them in the ground. Why did they build this place and why did they bury it in the ground? So that it could not be found for 10,000 years. Göbekli Tepe, the road to the unknown. In 1995, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began excavations in the region. It took a long time to make sense of the structures that emerged, as 12,000 years ago, humans were still living as hunter-gatherers. The tools we used were simple materials obtained by shaping stones and wood. Even the construction of the first wheel was still thousands of years away. We are in a great struggle with nature. We had not yet begun to see ourselves as superior or different from animals, because we were hunting as a community in them. Even our living spaces were the same, and we certainly did not have the opportunity to organize large organizations. However, we were able to make up of T-shaped rocks with hand and arm shapes, symbolizing human beings, and different stone columns with various animal depictions. These pillars were transported in one piece, and there were even some that weighed up to 16 tons. So why did Stone Age humans create such a mysterious place? First of all, let's make it clear that, despite having several theories, none have been definitively proven. The first theory is as follows. The Urfa region is within the Fertile Crescent, an area that has some of the world's most fertile soils, and was the center of the transition to settled living and agricultural society. Among these lands, some of humanity's first villages were established. Even though agriculture had not yet begun, hunter-gatherer humans had already established several villages where they could live together for safety. The oldest known of these is Jerf al-Amar in northern Syria. It reaches the same dates as Göbekli Tepe. Between these villages, hunter-gatherer peoples engaged in barter-based trade. Could Göbekli Tepe have been a trade center where people gathered from time to time? The circular buildings here were built to serve this purpose, perhaps with the joint work of various village peoples. Since Göbekli Tepe was built in a location that could be seen from a land of 200 square kilometers, a passenger would not have a directional problem. Perhaps the animal symbols on the pillars were also the symbol of each village or tribe. The second theory suggests that Göbekli Tepe was built as a temple. If this theory is correct, Göbekli Tepe becomes the oldest, well-preserved large temple in history. While there are older ones, none are as large as Göbekli Tepe. No city in the world has such a mystical past as Urfa. And here the part that proves it. Göbekli Tepe has been under the ground for about 10,000 years, but according to the landowner and historians, the land where Göbekli Tepe is located has been considered sacred by the people of Urfa since ancient times. People come here in the spring. They sacrifice, and those with various ailments spend their nights here. Those with vows also fulfill their commitments here. Interestingly, this region has been considered sacred for 12,000 years, without any change. Sacred sites in Urfa date back to prehistoric times. For example, while Balak Lagol is considered sacred for today's people, thousands of years ago, it was also considered equally valuable by the people of that time. Archaeologists found the world's oldest human-sized statue right next to Balak Lagol. Known as the Urfa Man, this statue is around 1.8 meters tall, and smaller versions were also unearthed from Göbekli Tepe. It is now exhibited at the Şanlıurfa Archaeology Museum. According to the views supporting the theory, most experts agree that faith was one of the important elements that could unite ancient people who had just started to make pottery in those years, with such an organization. This is because there is an important point to be noted here. The ancient people, who were transitioning from a nomadic lifestyle to village life, did not have concepts such as leadership or warfare. There was no labor, slavery, or employerships. In other words, they did not have an authority figure who could give them orders and direct them in this construction. They had a communal life, a communal project, equal distribution of goods, equal food, in short, a true commune lifestyle. Even the villages that coincided with the same period as Göbekli Tepe had a shared kitchen used by the entire village. If Göbekli Tepe was a temple, various tribes probably gathered here at certain times of the year to perform their rituals. According to initial discoveries, the hollows on top of the columns were initially thought to be altars. However, this possibility has been ruled out, and it is now understood that they were carved for placing wooden structures on top of the columns. Now, I would like to give another surprising information. According to the latest discoveries, Göbekli Tepe is not the only one. It has been revealed that there are 12 more Göbekli Tepe-like building series around Urfa, with the studies of Bahattin Çelik from Ardahan University. Perhaps some of the other 12 structures may be much, much older. Thanks to radar technology, we know that other structures consist of various circles and columns, similar to Göbekli Tepe. We'll see what they're hiding over time. Now, let's return to our topic. If Göbekli Tepe was really a temple, what did these people believe in and what kind of rituals did they perform? There is no definitive information on this, as the discovery dates back only 8,000 years. However, the general view is that there are pagan beliefs integrated with nature, such as shamanism. Almost all ancient people around the world had similar religions. The depictions of animals, sacrifices, and blood in the animal figures on the pillars support these beliefs. There is no idea about the nature of the rituals. Rumors are just speculation. Now, let's talk about the meanings of symbols and other signs. In that era, when humans lived as hunter-gatherers, they had a deep admiration for nature. They respected the power of animals and tried to emulate their hunting tactics. Therefore, whether for religious or purely admiration reasons, leopards, wild boars, lions, various extinct animal species, birds, and spiders were carved onto the pillars. These required skills and knowledge accumulated over time. In the middle of some circles, there are T-shaped silhouettes of people exceeding 5 meters in height. According to some experts, the reason for not drawing their faces is because they attribute divine meaning to these large stones in the middle. After all, it would have been very disrespectful to draw the faces of the gods. How was Göbekli Tepe built? In those years, there were no wheels or various tools. There were stones and wood used for shaping. Examining the surroundings of the hill, we know that the whole rocks were carved in place and then shaped, and subsequently, they were transported by human power, like a boat, with groups of 50 to 60 people. Since some of the pillars weigh 16 tons, it is obvious that such an engineering could not have been done without having a much older experience. In other words, if Göbekli Tepe is 12,000 years old, it means that we are talking about a community that has developed itself for at least 13 to 14,000 years. Unfortunately, we will never find out who these people are. So, what do we know for sure about Göbekli Tepe? And what is its accepted significance? First of all, they are historical ruins that best tell us about the symbolic world of hunter and gatherer people. This is the most important point in the world in this regard right now. It is not the oldest structure or temple from the Göbekli Tepe period. There are older ones. However, what makes this place important is the exceptionally well-preserved state of the archaeological site, almost as good as the first day. In the past few years, we have learned that it served not only as a temple, but also for different purposes, possibly as a public space. In fact, there are researches that it was not used as a temple at all. This is the most distinct and crucial point belonging to the transition period when humanity began to distinguish itself from animals, considering the Göbekli Tepe era. When Göbekli Tepe first appeared, it was thought that its positioning was made according to the stars. But this theory is no longer accepted. In fact, no symbol of the sky has been found in other historical monuments of the period in Urfa. For this reason, it shows us that human beings care more about the earth than the sky. The first astronomical drawings of human history will begin 3,000 to 4,000 years later. This proves that the Fertile Crescent region, where settled life started, transitioned to it much earlier than other parts of the world. Göbekli Tepe has shown time and again that Urfa is one of the most important and oldest cities in the world in terms of the dark past of humanity, and even the oldest. Thanks to Göbekli Tepe, we have understood again that those ancient peoples who shape our day came out of these warm and old lands, and that much more is here. But there are some questions that cannot be answered and perhaps never will ever be answered. Why are the people who built this place? After using it for 1,500 years, they covered it with earth and covered it completely. This is at least as difficult a task as the construction of the place. What happened to those people? What was in that space for the next 5,000 years until the Sumerian civilization came along? What did these people see and what did they witness? They needed to build 12 more structures similar to Göbekli Tepe. What was it that really pushed them to do this? Currently, the symbols on Göbekli Tepe are considered to be the oldest expression of humanity. To illustrate briefly, they are seen as the first hieroglyphs of humanity. Because these depictions tell us very different things than the animal shapes in the cave. Yes, there is a story here. A story is being told, and a new branch of science based on symbolic writing has begun research to extract this story. We hope that the next 10 years will be the years when the secrets of Göbekli Tepe are revealed. To access more content, you can subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.